Didi Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Eldercare Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org.
And welcome back to Teddy Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 18. Along with Teddy Ryan and Dan Lynch joining us again, the old trio of the news broadcast. Dan, how you doing, my friend?
I am swell. Thanks, TD.
Swell. That's great to hear the word swell. I don't hear that much anymore. That's great. We've been able to do this. This is, again, podcast number 18. We've had various guests, matter of fact, later on in this podcast, we'll be joined by DeKalb, Cortland Mayor Mark Petrowski. But I think it's great that I'm able to bring people local news, but have educated guests with us as well. And, we had Jerry Smith here, former mayor of DeKalb, and he said there's a news hole in this area, and that's great that we're able to fill away some of that news hole.
Some of it, yeah. No, it's great. I'm just not pounding coffee right now like normally.
That's right. No, we'd be very out of the morning that I would be doing this, but we're here at the DeKalb Library. I want to thank our friends at the DeKalb Library, all our wonderful sponsors too. I don't thank them enough. We really appreciate you doing this. And we're going to have a new sponsor joining us next week. Blue Silo Orchard there in Malta. I suggest you check it out. Kind of an old school orchard. Great guy, Russ, out there that runs it for us. And we appreciate Russ and all our sponsors. We'll thank them so much. But Dan's going to give us a little news here. Then we'll be joined by Mark Petrowski. We'll talk about some stuff in Cortland that's going on as well. Including, remember, Dan, last time Mark was with us, they had that big lottery winner there in Cortland. And I guess the store that they bought it at, the Circle K or 7-Eleven, they're giving some of that money back, so we're going to talk about that as well. But what do you got for news?
Wait, they have a mobile and they have a Casey's.
Right.
In Cortland.
So the Casey's, the Casey's and 101, yeah, and they're giving some money back that they have received from selling the winning lottery ticket was $147 million, I believe it was. And Cortland Casey's donates lottery reward money, donates $5,000 to each local veterans fund and a food pantry as well. So that's great that they would step up like that. So that's a we'll talk to Mark about that. And that was such an interesting story. But it used to be that you have to, if you won a big prize like that, you had to disclose who you were. You know how that used to be, but now you don't have to say who you are.
Boy, the first thing I would do if I won is I would go to the search engine and write in, what do you do when you win?
I guess I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't tell anybody. $100 here, $100 there. But,
Share it on Facebook that you won. Hi, everybody, I won.
Come hit me for my
Well, let's start with the small town. Shabana has been awarded a Compeer Financial Rural Vitality Grant by way of the DeKalb County Community Foundation. The village of just over 800.
See, I thought it was over 1,000.
It's just over 800. Is getting $12,500 with support from the DeKalb County Economic Development Corp. Village official Shabana officials say the cash will be used to repair and replace the Lions Park Pavilion and add new playground equipment.
This first coming to light there, and so many times they got some heat. Forgive me for representing them, Shabana.
Oh gosh.
So you can imagine there, but again, some of the things that I like about that, we're talking about public domain, where again, let's say I own a house there in Shabana, I want to sell it to my son or my son-in-law. They get first dibs, right? They get the first right of buying that house, and so that's kind of a rough deal.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially in this era of people getting 4 times what they paid for a house, or maybe their house 10x'd in the 20 years they owned it. Went up 10 times as much. Yeah. So, but here's hoping these folks in that situation get a good offer, a fair offer. DeKalb County Community Foundation is awarding $40,000 in its first round of Build the Future grants to aid capital projects. Rooted for Good, formerly DeKalb County Community Gardens, gets $80,000 for a community health, education, and food center capital campaign. Oak and Acres Wildlife Center was awarded $30K for construction of a new raccoon rehabilitation center.
Because, they hit
DeKalb County Forest Preserve District received $30,000 for surface construction on the Genoa to Kingston Trail,
where the raccoons frequent.
and the annual program provides multi-year funding for eligible organizations in DeKalb County to expand or build new facilities. Yeah. Indeed.
Take care of so many people, and it's just, I think, a big expression of how I was talking about whether you teach them, you can be officially for a day, but you teach them unofficially for a lifetime. And that's what they're doing as well, is giving away the food and teaching people how to grow the food and take care of how to eat better. I mean, it's really, so like I said, this campus sounds great.
Yep. I've tried gardening, and I just can't get that.
But you do it.
Yeah, that's successfully. I had carrots, I had a 1 inch long carrot that was kind of yellow, too, but I had Becky put it in the sale, I ate them, I did consume it, so. Now we're talking about this story, DeKalb driver complaint leads to arrest of man jumping in front of cars in DeKalb County. Police arrested a Plano man on Monday after multiple drivers complained that he was jumping in front of cars and forcing them to swerve to avoid hitting them. I don't have any more information about that, but,
He was in his 40s.
Jason Straber, 42 of Plano, yes, arrested on charges of reckless conduct, obstructing a police officer, taken to the DeKalb County Jail, processed and released under provision of the Illinois Pretrial Fairness Act. So he's out again, and at that point, we don't know why he was jumping in front of cars.
One thing people are saying nowadays for everything is mental illness.
Yeah, well, that stands to reason here in this case, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So hopefully he'll get the help that he needs here, but it's not traumatizing that would be having somebody jump in front of your car, man. That's some scary stuff.
Right. I mean, it's one thing if it's a deer, but a person on a rural road would be very
I'm just for a second, Mark Petrowski is going to join us right now. Mark, Mayor Mark Town, and he's going to join us right now. We're going to be Mayor of Cortland.
I'll pass the mic to Mr. Petrowski.
We have a little kind of limited resources here at the DeKalb Library, but Mark will appreciate that. Of course, Cortland was incorporated in 1865, unique for neighboring villages and cities because it's an incorporated town. And I'm about to explain that to us. 4,398 citizens back in 2020. Cortland, third largest town in Illinois. Mark, how you doing, my friend?
Doing wonderful. How about yourselves?
I'm doing great. What does that mean? You say Cortland is unique from neighboring villages and cities because it's an incorporated town. What does that mean?
So it means that in the state of Illinois, there's not a lot of incorporated towns. So in the grand scheme of things, I think there's about 25 or so in the state. So it's a little bit of a joke in terms of when we say we were the third largest, because there's not a whole lot of us in the state. And then of the ones that there are, Cicero's number one, which has way more people than we do. They have like 200-something thousand residents.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but they're still considered a town. And then next up is Normal, and they have, I think, 45 or 46,000. And then there's Cortland, which 4,700, and we're pretty safe in that third zone right now in terms of the other ones. So.
To be incorporated, what does that mean? What does that entail? What do you guys incorporate?
So it means that the back in the 1800s they officially incorporated into the, I think it was 1865.
Okay.
So they officially incorporated with the state of Illinois, listing themselves as a town. And then shortly after, the state of Illinois said, no, it's going to be villages and cities and things like that. But they kind of already had solidified themselves as a town, so Illinois kept anybody that had already done it. Yep. No, that doesn't go back there, but it was one of the. I think in the early. No, so not for that. So we did a slogan contest and different things like that. So we're keeping the third, largest town because if you do that, then there'd be people upset. But it's kind of like a sub now too. Like there's another one on there as well that we're going to be working out in terms of the new sign, and I'll look that up here too. I want to get it right, but I have to come back.
I really appreciate that. The stories we have here as we're talking about this the solar farm that's being proposed, and again, I don't have a lot of details on this, but hopefully we take DeKalb data center solar development fails the second time. Apparently at the city council meeting in DeKalb, there was a vote that was 4-3, but the mayor had voted to make the vote 4-4. And at one point, the DeKalb lawyer said that that was a majority, and obviously we counted that thing. How do you account for that? How do you account for him even saying that? How did they get to that point? Is it your understanding that I know you informed them at DeKalb, but I thought the mayor only voted if there was a tie?
So every municipality can kind of have it set up differently and everything. So town of Cortland, we do. It's the only time I would vote on an issue is if it was tied or if I was representing and needed to be a representative to meet quorum. Then all of a sudden I become a voting member out of necessity.
Okay.
Because I would have to. So, I make it 6.
6, okay.
So I make it a habit to just not vote on anything unless I absolutely have to. Because I don't want to weigh in unnecessarily onto an issue when I really don't get a vote, right? So the mayor's duty is to assemble the agenda, to be able to put forward a vision, but then we need to get the older persons or the trustees in the case of Cortland on board with that vision, on board with that issue that we're trying to push. So that's kind of on us to be able to get them on board, and if they're not, then they're not, and things move on, and you put other things on the agenda.
As Robert's Rules of Order, if it's been voted now twice, is that a dead issue that court can somebody still bring that yet a third time, as far as you know?
So, I'm not. I leave that stuff up to the lawyers because everybody can always pinpoint this little clause here or there or something like that. Again, I'm not sure. To me, it's like if it's been voted down and everything, it's likely a dead issue. In order to come back up, it'd probably have to have some type of difference with it or some type of change or something like that. The exact same issue, I'm not sure if they can necessarily do that, but again, maybe there's a little issue or a clause or something that they can make that argument, and that's for their legal team to be able to assemble and do that if that's the route they choose to go.
I agree. We were talking right before you came in about the Cortland's cases there with the last time we talked to you, you were here. The one that just been announced, right, for the, what was it, 147 million?
No, it's 349 million.
Was it 349 million? That's right.
So,
I see that the court cases in general step up, including the director said distributed $500,000 to the Veterans Charitable Funds as well as the food pantry as well. So great to see them giving back like that.
Yeah, they gave back, which is good. They took that money that they had received for getting it and gave back to the community. So that's all you can ask for. That's really appreciative. And I did find in terms of the additional slogan, so not a new, but additional slogan on top of the third largest town. So it's embracing the past, building the future. So that'll be appearing on the new Town of Cortland signs that'll be going. Yeah, we did a little contest and everything like that, and actually one of the former mayors, Mayor Bob. He is the winner. He came up with that slogan. Yeah. It was Mayor Bob. So this is exclusive. This is the first time I'm announcing that.
All right.
So there you go, an exclusive for you. So embracing the past, building the future. Yeah, and we were incorporated again in 1865. So that's kind of a preview of the signage. So a little bit of yeah, that's kind of officially the Town of Cortland colors. Is that kind of a little bit of the hunter green, so to speak. So.
But this is one that you get kind of tied in the version of this article in Chronicle. The Cal County executive accused of destroying and concealing emails for years by Gary Hansen. Details of the family case against Gary Hansen remain sealed pending the judge's review. A quote from you here in the article where you say that Cortland Mayor Mark Petrowski served as Democrat on DeKalb County Board Chairman when Hansen retired at the end of 2020. The quotes that I've always known Gary Hansen to be a dedicated and professional public servant. I do not have many details yet about the case, and I await everything that will be presented and make available as it moves to trial. But again, it wouldn't be accusation, it wouldn't be right. There isn't something to it, right? There isn't something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was a grand jury that was assembled. They deemed that it was worthy to go to a trial. And then, he'll have his time to kind of make his case, and the prosecutors will make their case as well. So, again, a lot of documents and different details are still sealed. So I don't have all the information, just like nobody does at this point. So all I can go off of is, my experience with that individual in the past. And then, again, await more details, just like what we're all waiting for, to be able to see kind of what this case really boils down to. Absolutely. So, and these are just, tough things that sometimes come up for a community. He's served the community for, I believe, 40 years and in DeKalb County government. So again, we look to see what information's out there and what we can find out. I'm not sure, because I don't really, again, so I have to really speak here because I just don't know the information. But again, the timeline and everything, I believe it says from 2019 up into 2022, even after his retirement, when he was still serving as a treasurer for one of the commissions, I believe. The Public Building Commission?
Yeah.
Is that what they mentioned?
So 15 County indictment against Gary Hansen, accused of illegally destroying and concealing emails for years in various capacities, including as administrator and treasurer, according to records.
Yeah.
So that's what stands right now. Again, I know you really know what you can do.
Yes, because again, there's different nuances and everything too. Like governments will always have backups and everything too on their server, on their system for emails and different things like that. Like I mentioned there. So that's why, again, await more information because again, in a lot of individuals' estimations, maybe if there's a backup on the server and stuff, can that document still exist or something like that? And so again, just kind of getting those details out.
I just had a county board member that accused of using that BPO funds, and then we had
Out of the circuit clerk's office, I believe.
Yeah. Had the job for 20 years, and unfortunately.
Yeah, those things are never fun to read or anything like that, and it's something that when you are in government or different things like that, you see those, and those things get amplified because it's public officials, and there's a public trust and a public duty towards different things. So those will obviously make headlines. Those will make the news.
Well, there's some case, so it's great to know we have watchdogs and people catching these people that do.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, and that's what's important to have a free press. Why we should all be supportive of having a free press, having the First Amendment, having all these different things, so people can feel like they can speak their mind. They can say, "Hey, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right," or something like that, and bring questions, bring things to light, all that kind of stuff. So again, I think it's very important to have that aspect, and why. Again, that's the amazing part of the United States of America, is to have that type of justice system and everything like that.
Right to speak is from yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. In other words, you have a right to say a lot of things, but
certain limitations and things. Yeah. But again, so it's never easy to read those things, and I, in the Chronicle article, I mentioned how literally I saw it right early in the morning when I got up and was like, "Oh, I'm going to use the restroom," and then went, "Oh," and it popped up on my phone.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you can share that again. That's what I should really share that on your phone. So we're going to slide it back over and get some more local news.
This is about sharing. DeKalb City Councilors the other night, Monday night, approved a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with NIU for shared police services. Now, this initially began in 2014, but this updated agreement allows NIU officers to enforce laws in a designated city patrol area and handle any arrests or investigations. Sworn officers from NIU may arrest, cite, and enforce violations in the patrol area near NIU's corporate limits. This area now includes north of the Union Pacific Railroad, west of Garden Road. Also, NIU will be responsible for handling all arrests and investigations that NIU initiates during their patrol of this area, except for the major crimes like kidnapping, rape, homicide, sex assault, and arson.
But limited to the NIU campus, essentially, or at least.
Well, west of Garden, for about
I think there's wiggle room.
It's an issue that they would run the case all the way through unless it's a major crime.
yeah, but probably a great
Aid to DeKalb PD.
Yeah.
In emergencies, city officers may assist on campus. No compensation is involved. No money changing hands here. Let's see. Oh, I already did that. Okay, hunters are reminded about locations where deer can be tested for chronic wasting disease, or CWD. The free of charge service through the Illinois Department of Natural Resources allows hunter harvested deer to be tracked for wildlife biologists to monitor the distribution of CWD throughout Northern Illinois and the state. More info can be found on the Hunt Illinois app.
And deer season begins. Oh, I think that's in November.
Come on, David.
I was pausing because I knew where it was going, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to present
I
that.
appreciate that. I'm Kelly Economic Development Corporation. I've been a guest here on our podcast. And was hosting a major hiring event in DeKalb coming up on September 30th. That's next Tuesday. 11 and 1 p.m. Location DeKalb Public Library, 309 Oak Street in DeKalb. Our starting wage is $19.50 an hour. Now, you gotta leave all the young people in Cortland. We learned that from you last time you were here, Mark. Is that something that was very appealing to you guys?
Absolutely. So one of the things, and I get along very well with Mayor Cohen Barnes. You know, we communicate and see. You know, I've always said, you know, what's good for DeKalb is good for the rest of the county. So as things continue to grow towards Cortland, that will eventually impact and help us in terms of landing some development out off of 38, where we can maybe have some larger industry and everything like that could help impact the town in a positive direction. So again, I love seeing that type of growth right in that area. I think it's outstanding for the area. And I'm glad that Amazon, I know there have been talks a while back and then there was a pause. So I'm glad to see things rapidly moving forward with that. All of it I view as a positive, you know, and really it's, and you know this, in terms of when I was on the DeKalb County Board as DeKalb County Board Chairman, I was a champion for the enterprise zone. So to see it come to fruition, and the hard work of making sure that we got in on round one, and for the first time ever, DeKalb County had gotten an enterprise zone. We've seen since that moment, you know, billions of dollars of investment in the county overall.
Yeah.
And to have every single municipality has a stake and has part of the enterprise zone. And that was my goal too, is I didn't want it to just be DeKalb or just Sycamore or anything like that. I wanted every single community to be able to have access and part of this enterprise zone.
Well, we had Brad Hoy on last week, and Brad shared with us that there's a housing shortage in DeKalb, housing shortage, shortage in DeKalb County. So, like, any more homes now. If you wanted to stay in Cortland, is there somewhere in Cortland I could stay overnight in Cortland?
So right now,
Airbnb.
Airbnb, you know, perhaps some Airbnb, but you know, there's talks of perhaps a bed and breakfast that not yet, but that some people have reached out about that possibility. So again, we would embrace certain things like that, and try to work with people. And to me, it's okay to have the first, so I'm looking for the first bar and grill in Cortland. That'll be great, because we don't have one anymore, from years ago.
Yeah.
And then to be able to have a first bed and breakfast, or eventually even a hotel if it's out in different locations and stuff. Those are all things that could be a positive moving forward. It's just a matter of when, for some of those things. Well, so the parade is October 12th. Yeah, October 12th. So if anybody wants to be part of the parade, anything like that, they can just reach out to me. We can make sure they get a slot in the parade. As always, the Cortland Lions will offer a free hot dog meal after the parade in the park. And this time, I'm also, as mayor, I'm sponsoring a musical act. So it'll be music in the park as well after the parade from 1 to 4. So parade step off will be at 12:30 on October 12th. So we invite people to come out to that. We have a trunk or treat event on October 18th from 2 to 4. So if they want to be a trunk, if somebody wants to be a trunk and decorate and dress up, hand out candy to kids, that'll be outstanding. I think last year we had about 600 or 700 kids come through. It's really popular. Some of these programs and things that we've brought back or brought to Cortland for the first time have really been embraced by our community and surrounding communities as well. You let me go to my notes. I want to get the name right.
I want to mention joining us, we won't be able to do this on October 29th. That's coming up too quickly here, but we will have Veronica Garcia Martinez here, who's running for state representative, a Cortland native.
Native, yeah.
And she talked about bilingual education, and I didn't realize 6% of people in the world speak multiple languages, not here in America, but 60% around the world speak multiple languages. So the idea of bilingual, I think that's great. A bilingual class there right there at the Cortland Library.
Yeah, and the Cortland Elementary School is bilingual school and everything like that. So again, I just think that's such a valuable thing to teach kids, to be able to give them that skill set. I wish, that was something that I went through, and everything, to be able to speak multiple languages. And obviously, some other countries, it's a little bit more common because obviously a lot of times they'll learn English, plus they'll learn surrounding languages next to them and everything else. So it just never became a commonplace in the United States.
German school that we didn't know when they were 5 and 7, and all of Germany, they speak German at all age. And now they're learning French and some of the 3 languages.
Well, and once you can master 2 languages, all of a sudden it becomes much easier to kind of start grabbing some others and learning. I do have the name of that musician. So she is a local DeKalb musician, Cora Vassar.
Nice.
Indie pop singer, songwriter. So she'll be singing a lot of different tunes, some that people know, maybe some original works as well. She knows it'll be kind of an all ages crowd, so I told her, hey, can you sneak in some Taylor Swift in there? She said, absolutely. So we'll be able to have some of that in there. I said, well, of course, yeah, Dan will be there. He'll be there with his Swiftie shirt, right?
Springsteen, come on.
Man, she'll play. She can play a Springsteen song as well. Yeah, he's the boss. Yeah, that was a celebration that Cortland did. I believe that book came out in 2015. So it's a little dated, but still, it's there, and people can look at some of that history there and everything else.
One more. By the way, my daughter Helen goes to the Cortland Library once a week for crochet lessons, and a very lovely lady teaches it. Interesting lady from South Africa. Yeah, but she loves it, and it's
my wife was impressed too with it. So
It's like small place like Rachel Graves, Nebraska, and Ray Colorado, some of the first place I went to was a local library. It was so great, just great to see that like that. So what else was you asking?
Last story I have is DeKalb City leaders approved a $25,000 AIP grant to support a facelift at the old Fanatico's location, which was an Italian cuisine, 1215 Blackhawk Road. Property owner Nidal Musli is converting the space into a grocery store with offices upstairs.
they said it was a food desert there.
Back when they were talking about constructing the
So this will be a little more big.
grocery store. I think it'll be more than that. Remodeling costs have exceeded $100,000, and with more than half spent on plumbing and electrical and HVAC, it will be. According to the non-TIF AIP guidelines, a project can be reimbursed for 50% of the qualified upgrades.
All right, well, that's good to know they're putting that in, because that building has been empty for a while, so it's great to see that. You guys do the TIF support,
We do have a Cortland TIF district as well. So for kind of our downtown area and everything. So again, we look at different projects that we can do with that, both as a government and of ways to help developers and everything. So that is something that we can work with as well.
That's great. I know briefly in sports, Caitlin faces Morris and showing the formidable teams to Cal's defense. That's a test against like Way Central are really good. And St. Martha's and for the week 5, we're coming up to the end of we just want to do a little, we try to keep it as much like the morning show as possible. And of course, community calendar, want to talk about that. This being sponsored by your friends at Stagecoach Players Theater, that we welcome them aboard. We have tickets to the latest production, The Haunting, coming up October 30th through November 9th. They're at 126 South Fifth Street in DeKalb, 758-1941. Thank Tim Ball for that, for helping us get them aboard, and looking forward to be able to give away tickets to the Stagecoach Players Theater. If you ever get up on stage, ever go acting?
You know, I have not. I've people.
We talked about your stand-up.
Yeah, so people have
Each other to do stand-up.
people have asked me and everything, and you know, I have an outgoing personality to where I wouldn't mind doing that. The thing that has always made me nervous, it's not so much I can stand up and give a speech in front of 10,000 people, doesn't bother me at all. That's fine. I'm writing the speech and everything like that. If I've got to memorize somebody else's script and what other people are doing and timing and all that kind of stuff, makes me a nervous wreck, because I feel like I'm going to forget my line and somebody's going to just be staring at me and just be like, it's your line. And I'd just be blank. So, you know, and that stems even when I was a kid, you know, people, oh, you should be in this play and everything like that. I'd love to, but I kind of have this internal fear that you don't know about. And, you know, so that's something that, absolutely. But the work that they do at the community theater, you know, at Stagecoach and everything is fantastic. And the joy that people get out of that, and the fact that it could be somebody that's a lawyer by day, but then an actor by night, and all these different things, and people can kind of live out these dreams and you know, just express themselves artistically like that, I think is wonderful.
That's great. The kids, you know, in the family down here, the kids that are out there, and there's amazing.
I have one drama king, yeah, and there's a lady in our friend circle who went to Second City, like you, and she teaches comedy techniques to this group of children. So
I
would have loved to, yeah.
That's awesome. Last week. Understanding service for income discrimination, your rights. Proposing for all is going to be October 2nd from 11 to 12:30. Then to the Cal Township 2323 South 4th Street in the Cal. I assume everything, all your rights. And speaking of comedy, your friends at Healthcare Services, of course, one of the sponsors of the show, is having an open comedy night. It's going to be fundraising supporting Healthcare Services. There's going to be 6 p.m. to 7. There's open at 6. The show starts at 7 at the Regal Center in the second floor. We'll tell you more about that as it gets closer. We have a great way to support Healthcare Services. and had a laugh as well.
Stand-up comedy. I respect the people who would do that. That's got to be the most difficult.
We also do the obits like we do in the morning show, and sadly, the three of us are for people from Cortland going back now. We're going to go back to April. Mary Benson. She was a fun-loving conversationalist. I would love to be described as that intellectual who enjoyed analyzing psychological ideas and very determined person. She survived polio at the age of 2 with the expectations of living with leg braces at best. She proved them wrong. She received physical therapy. She never gave up. She was an entertainer and a dancer at heart, and she and her friends put on shows at the Cortland Town Hall and school. Throughout her life, she took tap dance, ballroom, and even belly dancing. She enjoyed going to the Blue Moon in Elgin or to ballrooms and discotheques in Chicago, or the Sunday discotheques. She went to NAU, got her MS in education, focused on special education. God bless the people that do that. Moved to Racine, Wisconsin, and she worked at the Cabbage Patch Child Care. Loved it there. Then she joined the Cortland Library Board in 1994, remained a member until 2020. She's always a passionate reader and carried books with her wherever she went. Did you know her? Did you know Mary?
That's great. Yeah. So some of these individuals that that ran into in passing or different things like that, and I know it made a big impact on a lot of members of the community. Really knew her, and were happy that she was part of the community.
What a great lady, boy. And Jacob Smith, and that's Jacob with a K. Of Cortland. Jacob, remember, is a gentle giant with a massive sense of humor and a magnetic personality. He's a proud, skilled tradesman working as a professional painter. Strong work ethic, dedicated to doing every job with care and precision. He had a unique way of making people laugh and feel easy. A deep love for his family and friends as well. So sadly, taking it as much too soon. I don't know if you know Jacob at all.
I'm not sure, but again, it seems like good sense of humor and brought a lot of joy to people.
Yeah, I was giving back to too. And speaking of that, same thing with Glenn, fully if I'm saying that right, Glenn of Cortland. I grew up in Berlin and Cicero. Speaking of the other big towns, right? Worked at Dunkin' Donuts in Chicago, where he met Diana's wife. 1984, they moved to Cortland. They purchased the Baskin-Robbins store in DeKalb. They had spent many upper operating ice cream shop while raising their 2 children, David and Sarah. Worked for the United States Post Office as a rural carrier at Maple Park Post Office, and was an active member of the United Methodist Church in Cortland.
I knew Glenn.
Yeah,
Great guy.
And we also have there's one more obituary, recently, and I posted about this one was Robert Carr. So Robert actually was living at the time in Ottawa, Ohio, but was a founding member of the Cortland Lions 51 years ago. Yeah, so he made a staple on the community as well. So that was something I try to post certain things that come up, everything too, just to kind of inform people, let them know about different things.
Thank you for having that.
Yeah, no problem. And one thing I did want to mention too is that State Representative Jeff Kiker and I are putting on a workshop next week. This is open to the public, so anybody, whether they live in Cortland or not, they can come out to it. It's going to be at the Cortland Lions Den, 70 South Llano Street. And it is a workshop by the Office of the Illinois Attorney General, and it's online scams and identity theft. So it's how can you be best prepared to identify those and, be safe for yourself and everything. So it's an all ages event. We did a event, I believe a year ago, Jeff and I together with the Attorney General's office, but it was focused more on fraud, elder fraud. And how to protect those older adults in their lives and everything. But this one's saying, hey, anybody can be susceptible to online frauds, so this is open to everybody. It's at September 29th at noon, and that's the Cortland Lions Club, 70 South Llanos.
We've beefed up the old news quiz, so we'll tell you about that in a minute. I wish happy birthday to you. And then we're going to go also for anniversary 30 years in DeKalb on the 23rd. Little Baker. We're going to have it on the 23rd, Little Baker, and birthday on the 26th. Anniversary on the 27th for Brett and Paige Weaver. And Sam Mills of Sycamore will be 30-year birthday on the 30th. And Madison Foster as well. This I thought as you know, Mark, you were on the DeKalb County Board and for a minute. It's a real good news that our friends from the DeKalb County History Center, we thank them for sending us a go to DeKalb County History.org for all the cool stuff they got going on. As of September 1854 sessions of the DeKalb County Board of Supervisors, a petition was received to organize the township of Afton, which was duly accepted. Ezekiel Noble. I love that Ezekiel. Why do we have more Ezekiels around there? I prepared the petition to circulate. There were 21 signers of the petition, but only 9 of them were legal voters. The others became voters before the spring the township was organized in 1855. So do you the question I think about, is the county board too big? Do we have too many members of the county board?
That's been talked about, debated, different there. There's some communities and counties that, upon a redistricting, they realign, they go to different things. So we're a 24-member board. We're not the largest. We're definitely not the smallest. But the way that our structure is there's 12 districts, 2 representatives per district. So you can have a situation where you have a Democrat and a Republican representing the same district, which kind of presents an interesting combination and everything there too. But there's been talks. Okay, do we just go to 1 per district, or do we go 1 per district but make 18 districts instead of So there's talks about that, and then there's also there's that notion of if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So do we just stick with the 24? So I think there's talks every different way and everything. And right now, I know Kendall County actually just has 2 districts, and they have 5 per district. So people have different notions with things, but I think it is important though too to note that if you reduce the amount of people, so the DeKalb County has it where there's 2 per district. So if they went to 12, those people aren't representing any additional people. It's kind of the same amount and everything. But let's say, if they decide to go to, 18 districts or something, then you can maybe reduce the amount of people per district. And then all of a sudden it's, maybe there's more reach out that can be done or different things like that.
Okay, so as far as you know, is everybody working on this right now? As far as you know, or is it?
I'm sure people could be thinking about it. It's not going to happen until the next census, if anything happens. But again, what I will say is that I think this has been a topic that's been brought up every census, and we've stuck with the 24.
As a podcast, I wish it wouldn't be when so many people have to interview.
Right. But so with anything, it's got its pros and its cons. I'm sure.
September 1873, the DeKalb County Agricultural Mechanical Society held a fair. At the fairgrounds, where do you think the DeKalb fairgrounds used to be?
DeKalb.
Bring it where you want to get to say.
Hopkins Park.
Hall.
Oh.
So that's where the DeKalb fairgrounds used to be back in.
Yeah, I was going to say he hogged the mic, but I was going to say, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So.
Rows of water and sugar recently mentioned. The crossroads is mentioned exactly the same moment where Joseph Clinton, Isaac Elwood, and Jacob H. each came up with their own idea for barbed wire. And we know the rest of the story from there. In 1975, Crosby began to spread concrete for the $791 million project to widen the West Lincoln Highway, expanding from 2 to 4 lanes from the Kishwaukee River to Glen Road. The project was expected to be completed by the winter. Now, how are the streets in Cortland? Because I'm never to say my street on 10th Street in the DeKalb District got done this summer.
Excellent.
Streets in Cortland.
Some streets great, some streets not. So again, it's an ongoing project to be able to address, make it every year. We're addressing pathway expansion, which by the way is going to be paved this month. So that'll be great. It's going to connect from from Loves Road to Barber Green down to the Peace Road pathway. So now all of a sudden it's all connected. So now Cortland's part of that network, which was a goal of mine since 2014. And you can talk to Bill Van Nugen, Nathan Schwartz, the county engineer. I've been on him since 2014. We got to get this done. We got to get this done. So we both joke that we are going to do a ribbon cutting when it's all said and done, to be able to kind of really, because it's like I said, it brings joy to my heart when I see people running, walking their dogs, riding their bike on that trail, because that was the whole goal, is to be able to increase the ability to have a healthy outlet and a safe direction towards people going to DeKalb or Sycamore and utilizing the Peace Road.
It's amazing.
It's a great bike riding city. I was just there in August. I was surprised at how clean Chicago still is. It's still a clean city as opposed to like Portland, Oregon.
Yes, sir. We used to do on the old show here in the independent question.
Well, Mark, you want to interject? Go ahead.
I wanted to say one thing. So my wife and I recently went to see Oasis in Chicago. Great show. It was a great show. Yeah, I've seen Oasis. It's not, but I wasn't going to say that. I'm like, just let it go. But anyway, so one of the things I wanted to note, though, we talked about bike friendly and everything like that. We were amazed at all the electric bikes now.
Yeah.
And electric bike carriages that were going there, they're all lit up, and they were driving, down the different bike paths and all that kind of stuff, and it looked awesome. And people just going for rides and everything, and we both we drove up there, but I was like, I kind of want to park and go on a ride on one of those. So it looked really interesting.
That's great.
TJ, what are you giving away?
Plus, we got car wash from Rose Car Wash. We take Ralph on board. Rose Car Wash come from the agency now. Got the car wash, and then we got 2 tickets to go on team. Stagecoach players to their latest person is going to be October 30th through November 9th. They're at 126 South Fifth Street in DeKalb. Call over 758-1940 or go to stagecoachplayers.com. Get your tickets early for this one's great. Too much a scary thing around Halloween. What's the question, my friend?
DeKalb City officials approved a $25,000 architectural improvement program grant to support a facelift at the old Fanatico's location on 1215 Black Hawk Road. So that was an Italian restaurant. What's the vision for the new business there by the property owner? No, you were singing Asia.
This is for all the prices for the tickets to the production, the visibility to the and the car wash. Contact me at tdryan2001 at yahoo.com, tdryan2001 at yahoo.com, and we'll make sure that you get these lanes again. Get the question one more time, my friend, if you would.
Sure. DeKalb City leaders approved an AIP grant, $25,000 for an upgrade at the old Fanatico's location on Black Hawk Road. The property owner is going to switch it up and change it into this type of business. What would that be?
All right. This is applying for the IPA grant, which I'm not sure what that entails. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I want to thank the folks in Cortland, just the folks in the DeKalb.
Well, one of the things that I do want to note is that next year obviously is going to be a big year for our country, 250th. So one of the things that I'm doing, and I'll encourage other communities to do this as well, so we can all kind of collaborate on different ideas and everything, is I'm forming a resident committee, an ad hoc committee focused on 250th anniversary celebrations. So what can we do locally in Cortland? What can we do in DeKalb County to be able to really celebrate the United States of America? So that's something that I encourage people that are interested in that live in Cortland to reach out to me. Even if you don't live in Cortland, but you live elsewhere, reach out to me. I could reach out to their mayors or whatever and say, hey, let's really kind of get this ramped up, because I would love DeKalb County to be really well represented in terms of some nice little celebrations that we can get going. Because no, I did not. My dad did. Yeah. So I'm myself not a veteran, but my dad is an Air Force veteran. So I always had great respect for our veterans and people that dedicate their time to public service, whether that's serving as a teacher or a nurse or an elected official or somebody that went to the armed services and protecting our country that way and everything. There's so many different ways to go back. Absolutely. Peace Corps is a great way to serve our nation and our country. So there's so many different ways of service, but again, I think the United States being 250, I think that's something to really be proud of and to celebrate. So I'm happy to kind of organize maybe a few events during 2026 that can really recognize that. And the other thing, believe it or not, I'm going to be celebrating the 25th high school graduation reunion from Sycamore High School in 2026. So we've already been communicating about, hey, when we all going to get together and all that kind of stuff. And I believe it's going to be.
Hall of Fame. I commend you for that. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, that was in 2023. Yes, 2023. I was elected into the Hall of Fame for Sycamore High School graduates. So that's a big honor there. But yeah, we've been talking to former, classmates and everything like that. And we said, okay, we're all going to get together in 2026. COVID really went rampant in terms of ruining our 20th anniversary plans. So in the 25th anniversary, we all just want to get together and celebrate, Sycamore and our connection together. And so we talked about, organizing it around Pumpkin Fest, because that's people coming, visiting their families, all that kind of stuff. Those that moved away, those that stuck around, we just have to kind of drive down the street, but.
We appreciate you doing that. Thank you. As always, the opportunity of the news, what do you want to say? You always give you the last word.
I love Mark's yellow phone cover. I have periwinkle blue, which I thought mine was original, but
You can find that if you lose it.
relatively easily.
So, and thank you, Mark. I've talked to you on the phone in my years as a journalist. So I appreciate the callbacks, and you're like Cohen Barnes, and that you're very easy to get a hold of, and always happy to give your take on certain issues. So thank you for that.
Thanks to all our wonderful sponsors who come out to me, Blue, say hello, anniversary, and then mouth and check them out, please. And thank you again to Mark Petrowski of the Election News Podcast number 18.
City Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Elder Care Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org.